like the number of participants is stabilized. Everybody's in from the waiting room. As you just heard, we're recording this session and we'll post it to our website. But I really appreciate everybody for your interest in this program, for taking the time to join us today. This is just an opportunity to run through the request for applications for our county partnerships program within the ConnectALL deployment program. I also just really want to recognize that this is another example where ConnectALL has the great privilege to follow the vision of our governor, the support of the state legislature, which has provided critical funding for ConnectALL. They're able to draw on for this, and where we continue to build on the leadership and years of work of many of our local and county partners and regional planning partners to address the broadband needs in our counties. And this is responsive to the approach that we've seen many of you take. We wanted to create an opportunity to apply for funding to build on plans that you already have in place, as you'll see. Go to the next slide. So, as I said, the session's being recorded. The recording and the slides will be sent out to participants, and we'll post them on our website. As we go through, you'll see important links and announcements, and items will be in the chat, so you'll be able to follow along with that. And we'll also include any of those key links and information in the email that we send out with the information. We won't be responding to questions live. As usual, we will make sure that we review your questions and respond in writing and post that at our website, and notify you when as that progresses. But you can submit your questions by the Zoom Q&A function or by email. We've already received some questions and we are working on those answers now, and appreciate the opportunity to clarify anything that comes up as you review the request for applications, go through the process, or respond to this session today. Next slide. Just going to start with a brief overview of ConnectALL for any of you that have not seen this presentation already. Or similar piece, but ConnectALL is the governor's comprehensive initiative to transform New York's digital infrastructure, build a robust broadband marketplace, and bring affordable, reliable, high-speed internet service to all New Yorkers. The signature programs are part of the governor's announcement, include the ConnectALL deployment program, which we'll be focusing on today, the Affordable Housing Connectivity Program, Digital Equity Program, Connectivity Innovation, and our Municipal Infrastructure Program. Next slide. Our three main goals, as authorized by the New York State Legislature under the WIRED Act, are to connect all residents and businesses to high-speed, reliable, and affordable broadband, so addressing all unserved and underserved locations, and working to expand cellular coverage. Also ensure that everyone in the state has a robust and competitive internet marketplace to support economic development and ensure that that's equitably available to everybody. And then also mobilizing all of our partners, all of you, partners in government and industry, nonprofit and community level, elected officials, and everybody's willing to work together on this problem of the digital divide, are part of this statewide mobilization to address the full range of barriers that anybody in the state faces to be able to fully make use of the internet to participate in our economy and society and civic life. Next slide. The funding for the program, all told, is over $1.3 billion in public funding. Comes from three main sources and multiple programs. Key components are the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which is allocated over $646 million to the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, as well as an allocation, the first allocation of $37 million from the Digital Equity Program under IIJA, as well as $245 million administered by the Treasury Coronavirus Capital Projects Fund as part of the American Rescue Plan Act, and then the state legislature's allocation and the executive budget allocation of $300 million that, as I said, is crucial for the program we'll be discussing today. Next slide. As I said, the focus today is the ConnectALL deployment program, and this is our program that is specifically focused on addressing all unserved and underserved locations in the state. This includes approximately $646 million in federal funding, as well as $50 million in state funding to reach all of those locations. And we are working from the FCC broadband map. Many of you participated in the challenge process that we just closed the open challenge submission window on, and thank you for that. And it's just a note that, because of that process, because of other ongoing grant programs, including at the federal level, these locations are subject to change. And this is the focus. These locations are the focus of this program, but we have a little bit more flexibility to work with counties on how they've defined it to address unserved and underserved locations. But that is the focus. How can we use the state funding here to build on work that the counties have done and to move quickly to address this opportunity while we continue to work through the process of securing the federal funding which we expect to be available for disbursement in 2025 based on the federal timelines. Next slide. So now I'll give an overview of the request for applications for the County Partnerships Program. And again, this is part of our deployment program. The vast majority of it is coming later. It will be open later this year with the federal funding. This is an approach within that with the same goal by building county partnerships. If you've already had a chance to review the request for applications that is available at our website, you'll be well ahead in this presentation, and you'll have already seen the responses are due on May 10th. As I said, our goal is building on county efforts to address the unserved and underserved locations through grant programs. The eligible applicants are only those counties, only counties who have run a competitive selection process to identify partners, and they've identified partners that can address substantially all of the unserved and underserved locations in the county, and that they've run this process already. The funding is really only for those direct expenses related to broadband deployment, or to make the two ISPs, or for the county to make subgrants to those ISPs in combination with other county funds, federal funds, and contributions from the private partners. Next slide, please. So if also you have read our draft initial proposal, volume 2, which lays out the approach to our implementation of the federal funding, many of these requirements will be familiar to you. This program is not subject to approval by NTIA in the same manner, but we're looking to have an equivalent approach. So we are looking to meet at minimum the broadband threshold of 100 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second upload. Similarly, the latency, outage time, network reliability and availability, and other criteria are consistent. One key here is, as with that program, there's a strong preference for end-to-end fiber. Any other solution must include a justification but also locations that are only served by licensed fixed wireless, which may not be eligible under the BEAD program, can be eligible under this this component of the program with this state funding. Next slide. And the application components. The first section is the applicant profile, experience, qualifications. We want to know, who's working on this from the county standpoint. The number two is the selection process that you've used. And we understand that every county's process may be different, and you didn't start out your process with the information of what you now may have either through this application or our initial proposal volume 2, but we do need you to submit the information that allows us to assess the approach that you did take as a county, and to demonstrate the competitive nature of your process, so that we can understand how you arrived at your determinations. Next slide. Number 3 is really the project details and the technical approach. So which locations are going to be served by which providers, using what technologies, with what service tiers and pricing available, and what is the timeline under which you expect to get the work done, or your partners to get the work done. And number 4 is the program alignment and compliance. So we are subject to ESD requirements, our state requirements, and as I said, we do have our BEAD requirements laid out in our draft initial proposal volume 2, which may be still pending final approval, may be subject to change as we go through that process. But we've listed all of those components, and we need you to respond to that section 4 to let us know which one of these requirements, how you're meeting the requirements, and the other policy components, if you have an equivalent approach, or other response to what those requirements are. Next slide, thank you. Section 5 is the funding request. This obviously is of critical concern, so we want to understand the total funding of the project, the portions being requested from ConnectALL, and details on the sources of other funding. So similar to the federal program, ConnectALL is looking for a minimum of 25% contribution from all public and private sources combined. So that is the generally what gives you a sense of how ConnectALL is looking at the ConnectALL contribution. And we'll also be able to understand the cost per location, but we understand that every county and every location in the state is different. Number 6 is a series of certifications and disclosures. So again, review that in the RFA, so that you can go through these acknowledgments and commitments when you submit the application through our application portal. Next slide will give you the selection criteria that we're using. As you can see, applicant profile, experience, qualifications of 5%. The selection process that you use will be scored 20%. The project details and technical approach is 30%. The program alignment and compliance, so in other words, while you can respond and identify some of the policy components that your approach does or does not align with, because again, we understand you've already gone through your process, so we just need you to give us that crosswalk that explains how it does or doesn't align with our requirements or approach, but that will be scored. The extent of the alignment is scored 15%. And then the funding request, the total cost, the level of cost share, ConnectALL per location contribution. Again, understanding there are variations on a per location basis, and the overall soundness of the financial assumptions are 30% of the total scoring. Next slide. This is a selection timeline. We are not only expecting to be able to review these expeditiously, because the applicants are our government partners, but also we are looking to come to a final determination and help you finalize determinations and partnerships before we begin our federal grant making process, so that we can include these in the category of enforceable commitments that that then would allow us to not put the locations in your county out into that program, because we've been able to progress it into this process, which would move more quickly based on the work that you've already done and our ability to support you in that process. So we would look to complete that process on a July timeframe. Next slide. Provide an overview of the consolidated funding application. If you have participated in a funding program at Empire State Development, this should look familiar to you. And if you have not already done so, you should proceed even right now while I'm speaking to create an account by registering at the link there and in the chat. So go ahead and create an account by registering, and once you do that, you'll receive an email with a token, and that will be the process by which you access the portal from here on out. You'll have to create a new application. So project name is for your reference only. We recommend a naming convention, but this is really for you to track your applications. We track them by program. Speaking of program, that's how you begin your application. You select the appropriate program. You're looking for ConnectALL Deployment Program County Partnerships RFA, and it's listed under the Economic Development Programs section. Once you go through the threshold questions, you're really just trying to get through this section to the main heart of the program. So get through those threshold questions and proceed to the next page. Don't worry about the not-for-profit information. Just proceed to the next page here. The project location, you can answer it accurately, although this is again not determinate. This is just the way you progress through the portal. Next slide. And really, here's the key section: is when you get to this page and you see the documents and the questionnaire tabs. That's where you'll find the key information that aligns with everything that you've been able to review through the request for applications document. You'll find those same questions on the questionnaire. Next slide. So for this, we don't need the funding application page for this program, although we do have a funding worksheet that again you can find in the RFA and on the download. And you will select the location of your county in the process. This is just an example. Doesn't have to be those counties that are shown in the picture. It will show up as whatever your location is. And then, but once you click submit, you'll not be able to make changes after you submit. But up until that point, you can go through and you can edit your application. So again, download the document to review everything and be ready, but don't wait until the end to create your to register on the site and create your application, and make sure that you're prepared to respond to everything that's required for this application. Next slide. So after you submit, you'll get an update on the status of your application via email. Applications may be approved, rejected, or subject to further review. And in some instances, there may be additional documentation or demonstrations of compliance required prior to grant award. generally we will score based on the applications, and following that process, there can be once if there are applications that are conditionally eligible, we can consider items that may be required prior to a grant award. Next slide. So again, for questions, any questions you might have that you may have been able to submit through the Q&A function. And thank you, Chelsea, Jenny, and others for submitting. And again, we will respond in as follow-up, or you can email any questions you have to the email address that Rose has dropped in the chat. Thank you very much to our team, Rose, our team from HR&A Advisors who are supporting this process, our team within the ConnectALL office, and thank you all for your time and attention today. And again, particularly for this program, our county partners and the internet service providers who have been responsive to their grant programs, and given us this opportunity to build on those processes. I just want to again emphasize, though, at the end of this, that this is just one stage of the ConnectALL deployment program, and the subsequent stages using the federal funding will address all of the unserved and underserved locations that can be reached. We expect to address through the combination of these programs. So it's a great opportunity. This is a great opportunity to move quickly where we have that opportunity. But the work will continue, and we'll continue to work closely in partnership with all of our county partners through all of our programs. And again, we have the municipal infrastructure program as one opportunity to build on the local leadership. This county partnerships program is another opportunity. And then in our ConnectALL deployment program with our federal funding, based on our draft initial proposal, there are points that are awarded for letters of support from the relevant counties or tribal governments. And it's again, we really are building on those partnerships, and appreciate the opportunity to work with you closely, and appreciate the local organizations, elected officials, internet service providers who are part of those collaborations at the local and regional level. Thank you again, and with that, we will close the presentation. Look forward to receiving your questions and following up by posting this recording, this slide deck, and responses to those questions to our website. And we'll leave this open for just another minute for anybody that wants to contribute questions that way. Or again, you can follow up with the email address that's on the website. That's on your screen right now.
All right, thanks again, everyone. We're gonna turn off the room now, but please do send any additional questions to connectalldeployment@esd.ny.gov, and we'll be following up with an email with all this information shortly. Thank you.